Hello, it's Tony here. This is Power Automate Desktop Lab, where we will play with Power Automate Desktop and Excel. Usual drill, this is lab doc number 9 in your downloads. Follow along or do it yourself. The documentation is fine for a DIY. And of course you must have completed the labs because we're going to build on the Power Automate Desktop flow that we created in the earlier parts of this course. So with that, let's go into Power Automate. So I'm going to open up Power Automate Desktop. Of course, you can open up your flows from on the web as well. We're going to open up our Enter an Invoice. So this is the flow that you created in the earlier part of the course. What we're going to do is we're going to use Excel. In your download materials, you should find a in the lab data packages, there is in lab number 9, there's an Excel file to use in Power Automate Desktop. Make sure you found that Excel file because we're going to be using that shortly. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a subflow. So we've got the main application here that does the data entry. What we're going to do now is we're going to create a separate bunch of actions that we can call from within, we can call by an action, and it sort of keeps code together. It keeps it in a nice, logical and structured format. We could just, of course, append the right to Excel down here, but then we could end up with a really long list of code that's hard to debug, hard to maintain. You can also create subflows where you can do repeatable code, which might be useful for we do that for error handling. Check out the error handling video later in this course. For an example of where we can reuse code, so you write the code once and then you don't need to update it after that. So we're going to you don't need to update in multiple places. It's the same subflow that's called from multiple places. So we're going to create a new subflow and we're going to call it. Let me just double check, make sure I get this right in the lab. Write notes to Excel. So write notes. Notice that. So subflow names can't have spaces. So the usual convention is to use an underscore. So write notes to Excel and click save. And then what will happen is you'll see the subflow be created, and there's no actions in this flow. It's a new canvas for us to write to. And under the actions, you've got some Excel actions, and the ones we got. So there's some basic ones here, and there's some advanced ones under the advanced tab here. Advanced item. What is that? It's a grouping under the advanced grouping. So we're going to go into Launch Excel. Move over to Launch Excel, and rather than a blank document, we're going to open an existing document. So open the following document, and this is where we're going to browse to that downloaded data package. So lab data packages and lab number 9 Excel file, this one here, and open that. We're going to make the instance visible. We need it to be writable, so open read only should be checked off. Check out some of the advanced stuff. If you've got a password, you can add the password here to open it. You can load add-ins and macros if you so wish, and the Excel instance itself will be stored in this variable called Excel instance. Click on save. So we now have an instance of Excel in that's open and ready for us to play with. And what we're going to do is we're going to write the results of the input data that we've just input into this Excel document. So let's have a look at this Excel document just to get familiar with it. So here you can see here, oh, ignore that. Here you can see we've got the ID, the account name, the contact email, and the amount. Actually, this is going to be a problem, so I'm just going to sign in quickly and pause for a second. So I'm just going to activate my copy of Excel. So of course, some basics there. Actually, just as I'm talking about this, you need to have Excel on your machine. You can be signed in as anybody as long as you've got the ability to write to Excel. That's what you need to have. If you have signed up for your own tenant and you've signed up for the Office 365 trial and you don't have Excel on the machine you're using, you can download Excel and sign in with that account that you created for the account you created for your tenant, and that will enable Excel for you. What you need to do is it needs to be writable. So that should work now. That should be activated. So you need to have a writable version of Excel. Let's just make sure that is the case. I'll open that up again. So it's a good idea to open up the Excel spreadsheet just to make sure that it opens okay. I'm glad I did that. Otherwise, the bot would encounter issues. So that pop-up you saw for your privacy matters, that would have interfered with the bot doing its work. So open up Excel, make sure it's a clean open with no pop-ups, and then that will happen with the bot as well. So we can see here we've got this is the table of stuff. Now we've got this concept in Power Automate Desktop of first free row. So first free row would be the first free row in the spreadsheet, which is pretty handy, and we're going to use that. So let's close that out and let's start using that. So get first free column row from the spreadsheet. So there we go. Move that over. And what you'll see is you get this. You get these two variables produced. You get the first free row and the first free column. So if this had something in it here, then the first free column would be B and the first free row would be 29A. The first free row and the first free column. So where both are free, that is what's returned. Actually, no, I tell a lie. That's not the case. Let's have a look at the help. It might actually be the first free column is E and the first free row is 28. And I think that's how it works. Yes. So first free column is the numeric value of the first fully empty column. So if column F is empty, it will be stored as 6. First free row is the numeric value of the first full empty row. If row 7 is the first empty row, it'll be stored as 7. So that's what it is. So in here, first free column would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And first free row will be would be 28. So that's first free row and first free column. Click on save, and you get those two variables put into variables there. So here's our variables building up on the right hand side here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to write to Excel worksheet. And when we write to Excel worksheet, we need a couple of values. We need the value to write, and then we need the column and the row. I should just keep this sheet open, really. So we need the column and the row. So if we look at that spreadsheet, then the row is going to be the first free row, the column is going to be A, and we're going to put the ID in there. So we go in here and we go, all right, we're going to put the ID in there, so invoice ID. And the column is A, and the row is the first free row that we have in our spreadsheet. And what I'm going to do is just do Control C and Control V a few times, and then we'll just change these up. So column B, let's change that to column B, and column B is account name. So this here needs to be account name. Yeah, so you can traverse an Excel spreadsheet and write in the active cell that's presented, or you can write in a specific cell. We're writing in a specific cell here. This can be a number or a letter. This could be 2 or it could be B. So that first free column, you can use numbers. So this could be 2 if we wanted. In fact, let's do that. Into column C. This is going to be the contacts. You can also, with variables, you can just type them in here if you prefer typing rather than clicking. And the final one has to be amount. And this is going to go into column 4. And finally, what we want to do is close Excel. So we're going to go here and, in fact, we'll leave Excel open. We would normally close Excel. Actually, what we'll do is we'll close Excel. But what we'll do is, because we want to actually see it and just and vary it, and we want to save. What we want to do is actually see that. So there's actually a command called wait. So if you look for wait, and we just drag that over and pop that in here, and what this will do is at runtime it will wait for 3 seconds so we can see it, and then it will close Excel. So back in our main flow here, we need to actually call this. So we've created our subflow. We now need to actually call the subflow. So if you look in actions, there is subflow. Run subflow. Drag that down here. And it will just simply ask us which subflow we want to write. We want to run. We're going to run our write notes to Excel. So once that's completed, let's test it out. Click on save and then run. Taking a few seconds to save. There we go. And now run, and we can see it doing its things. Launching Contoso, doing the data input. Oh, that's interesting. What's going on there? It failed to get UI element input date. Well, we're not inputting date, we're inputting status. CBO status, input date. We're not actually inputting that date. I don't know where that got in. Let's just delete that one. We don't actually need that. This combo box isn't actually working as it should, so I'm just going to debug that here. There's actually a set drop-down list for a drop-down list in a window form. That's the one that we want. And the drop-down list is CBO status. Select option by name, and it is invoice. I noticed that wasn't working before, so we'll just fix that up there. So I don't know what that's doing. That's just a click. We'll delete that one. I don't know where that date thing came from. I must have been playing around with it and broken something. But there we go. This should work now. Let's check it out. There we go. That's better. That's set to invoiced, saved, excellent. And now it's going to open up Excel, so here you can see Excel going. Launch Excel. It's going to open up that Excel spreadsheet. There it is, and you'll see it write those values in the background. And then wait 3 seconds, and it closes Excel. So that's an introduction to working with Excel. Highly recommend. Obviously, Excel is a huge application in enterprise. Highly recommend that you get familiar with the Excel features. If you get stuck, of course, we have a support bubble in the bottom right hand corner. You can access our knowledge base, and you can send us an email or chat to us if we are online. Thank you for doing this lab, and see you in the next one.